but this chair's comfortable. You can
it's comfortable. I can lean into it. It's not comfortable.
I was like, this is like a chair I've run it for a very long time. I just don't know how comfortable it is when you actually sit in it. All right. So welcome back to another episode of How to Blaze podcast. Today we have someone really special, someone that's been on the podcast before. We have TGAR.
Hello.
So I guess we better freshen everyone up a little bit on what your name means.
Yep.
And introduce yourself.
So my name is TGAR. It stands for To Grow and Remember. Something I've sort of lived by before even becoming an artist, and I've shifted it into a mentality to get to where I am today. So it's not just a name, it's more of a purpose and a meaning.
And do you have any sort of like musical signature or traits that people can look out for in like your songs?
I feel like what things that stand out.
Things that stand out, and also like say key features, like like the bird sound that you always put.
Yeah, that's where my head went. So the whipbird sound effect, which came from when like years and years ago I used to go through the bush all the time, and I'd always hear whipbirds in the bush, like up the Blue Mountains and stuff. And I was like, damn, if I ever make music, I'm putting that shit in.
It's a very unique kind of whistling sound.
Oh, it's nice as well, and apparently as well, it's only native to Eastern Australia.
Wow.
Nowhere else in the world. It's only Eastern Australia. There's that, and then there's also the ad-lib of me saying "gar" as a bird, which is "grow and remember." Also sounding like a bird, like it's the sound of a bird, so that's why I say it in that tone and refer to birds, and it all leads to the sense of freedom as well, which is something that I'm trying to push and achieve as well.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So another thing that we're obviously very interested in is, since we last spoke, what have you been like? What have you accomplished? Like, how have things evolved in terms of your goal and career?
It's always changing. What have I achieved? So, as we're going to talk about today, I've just dropped my album, my first ever album, Past, Present, Future. This whole journey started with a promise I'd made to a partner at the time. That promise was like way back before I even officially made music. Was I had written that song, she'd heard it, and I promised that, if I were to make music one day officially, that I would release that song. And we had split. That song has a completely different meaning now. But that's what sort of drove me to do what I'm doing today. And now that I've accomplished that goal, I'm using that same fuel to get to my next goal. So setting that same promise to myself of, this is what I want to achieve, I'm going to get there and follow through with it.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool, because like I've noticed a few different artists have talked about like how certain songs kind of change meaning over time.
Yeah.
And but like, it still gets produced and put out like almost like the same way sometimes.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting that you don't end up wanting to change it completely or anything.
That's the art of it all.
Yeah.
I think once something's created, time changes it, and you have no control over that. It's the same with a lot of artists are scared of releasing songs, and they're scared because, what if someone doesn't like this or like that? If someone doesn't like it, the next person will. Everyone has a different interest. It's all down to interest and what people are interested in. So it always changes, and same thing for that. Like, I could write a song 5 years ago and it meant something back then, but now that I've developed and grown as a person, it means something completely different.
Because it's a bit like layers of people, like it's all still part of you and it's still in there.
Yeah.
So like the song probably works in a way like that as well.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So looking back then, what would you say has been one of your favorite moments so far?
Favorite moments?
Or a couple of them. You had a few pretty big things happen, I guess.
I think the biggest shift was back when I signed my first deal. I think that was the biggest shift. I remember it specifically. It was the first time I ever went to the studio by myself. I think actually a friend had come, and then her boyfriend wanted her back home or whatever. She was there for like an hour. That was it. And the boss was there, and he came out, and he's like, shout out Chef, by the way. He came out and he's like, bro, we've been listening to your tracks, and like dead set, you're one of the best artists we've had step foot in here. And we're not just saying that, like we've had big names and stuff, but we can see the passion and drive that you have. And there's not a lot of people out there like you. And that was such a pivotal point. I remember in the moment, like I said, it was the first time I was at the studio by myself, and I dead set thought I was dreaming or something. I was like, I thought that, like psychedelics had kicked in from when I'd done them years ago. I was like, what's going on? I didn't believe it, but a lot of that has given me the confidence and drive to where I am today as well.
Yeah, I guess like, because you can have a lot of people tell you different things, but it's fundamentally like not to be thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it is also probably a very big moment given that, like, because you come off very mature, but like, you are still pretty young. Like, I think when I learned your age, I was just like, oh, I don't know what I was doing at that age.
Yeah.
Probably just like eating chips and taking naps.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so, they're definitely right about the drive and everything. So let's get into the juicy part and one of the most exciting things. Let's dive into your latest project.
Yep.
Do you want to introduce us to sort of the concept of the album as a whole? Like, when did this idea kind of pop into your head?
So the idea came into my head when I very first started releasing music, probably even before that. And if you listen to the album itself, I won't give too many spoilers to it. If you want to go listen to it, look up TGAR and anything, you can go look at it there. But the interlude and the last track, Standard, were both the first recorded songs, and that was recorded back at that same time that I had mentioned that I'd been told that information from Chef. I went to Melbourne and recorded with the producer down in Melbourne. They were tracks that I recorded way back then, so that was back in June or July 23, so 2 years ago. That was the start of it. And so the idea I had back then was a concept of I wanted to make an album knowing that I had the track on this, which is the track I just mentioned, and then the other track, what's it called? Story, I believe it is. That is about my father and about a lot of darker past moments that I had. That was another song that I'd written a very long time ago. I wrote that when I was about 15, 16.
Wow.
And I knew that I wanted to release those songs in some capacity, but as I kept developing, they still meant so much to me, but the skills and stuff were developing more and more, so it was harder to want to release them. So I knew I wanted to do it in a creative way. So back then, the concept of the album that I wanted to have was that, and this is where interlude comes in, I jump off a bridge and quote unquote off myself, and as I'm falling, when you die, obviously, a lot of people know when you die, you get flashbacks of your life and everything that has happened. And so the idea was I jump off this bridge, as I'm falling to the bottom of the ocean, all these past memories and stuff were coming up. And then I eventually get to the bottom and there's like these higher being creatures or whatever that are dissecting my brain, and they get into the nitty gritty bits of my past and stuff. And they're like, this is too much. We can't handle it. Send him back. And the resolution of the album was I come back to the surface and there's like a rescue team and everything bringing me back to life, and it was a sign of something giving me a second chance. That was the concept originally. So it was very fictional, and I think I was reading a lot of Percy Jackson back then, so it was very fictional and it was very, artistic. And then as I created more and more songs for the album, that's where it sort of changed, due to, I think, Fuck Country was one of them, where it was like, it was so far left, and I was like, I wanted to reiterate the album, and that's where it created what it is today, and that it is just my past, my present, and setting intention for the future. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That just reminded me of something really random, but like, like when you said like going through your memories, one of the things I read that I don't know if it interests you, but it's basically, they say, going to sift through your memories, trying to figure out if there's a way out of it.
Interesting.
Which is a really weird take, right?
Yeah. And I guess it's like a survival instinct.
It's a survival instinct, and it's like your last moment, like, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to die, so I have to figure something out.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. Like, so, yeah, because I was going to say, one of the first things that came to mind as soon as, like, I started hitting the first track and started listening to it was, I thought, wow, this is really cinematic in a really amazing way.
Yeah.
And, like, to build something so great with, like, not any lyrics at the beginning, to kind of, like, dive into this kind of, like, world. That was really, really, like, cool done.
Another like big thing about it as well is the organization of the track was completely different. I think I went through 2 or 3 different versions of the album, just like putting tracks in different spots. That first song was the last song was the first song originally.
And how late was the first song actually made compared to?
It was this year. That was with Breezy at Close State Studio. Yeah.
Wow.
Probably like middle of this year or something. I think I mentioned the other day that it was all like ready to go at the end of last year. I think all the ideas were there ready to go, but I hadn't fully completed the album. There were a lot of tracks that were recorded, but there was a lot of like mixing, mastering, and back end stuff that still had to be sorted out.
Around and stuff, trying to figure out like what else you wanted to do it.
But hence why the end song has a diary entry from 22, or no, 23, whenever it was, and the past, present, future is a diary entry from this year, if you listen to the lyrics in there. So that's why I had that originally as first and that as the last. But sonically, it sounded better the other way around, and it was a fun way to sort of put it in that time loop. So you're listening to the last moment in the beginning and then the first moment at the end. And so you go back and re-listen to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That just like made my phone go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say as well, I was going to ask like in terms of like the way you titled the album, like you play around with specifically that's the arrangement you want.
It was more sonically, like it was more the sound, how it sounded cohesively together as an album, like track after one after another. The titles of the songs were all made when I had made the songs themselves as singles, quote unquote. But yeah, it was more just sonically, like if I were to sit here from left to right, how can I tell the journey through that?
Okay. You want to tell us a little bit about the cover art?
Yeah, so that the cover art also ties a lot in with key words and key moments within the album. So the hourglass, obvious. All the growth and stuff within the hourglass, obvious. The horse that's in the background, you can hear from Fuck Country, which is the theme of it. You can see there's a saloon, can't speak. There's a saloon and stuff in the background. There's a horse. That's the country theme. But then also in the interlude, you can hear me walking on the horse. That was done intentionally, walking on the horse and getting off of it, coming from
the sound effects.
Fuck Country. It's the song before that as well. Yeah. So it sort of meshes that nicely. There's also a bar where I talk about how I had an ABL against my brother when I was a kid because I tried to stab him. So there's a blade in there. There's also coins around for Earned This. I think there's a lighter. I think that's also from Earned This because I'm talking about burning holes in my pockets. I believe that's it. There could be more. Like the leaves and stuff on the cover art too is for growth and stuff as well. So there are a lot of key moments. Shout out to Outlining Art. I'm giving a lot of shout outs. She had made that for me ages ago. She is amazingly talented at what she did. She literally, like, I don't even know if I drew a sketch. I just gave all the, like, ideas. Yeah, like, this is what I want here and here and here. This is how I, like, the vibe I want, the theme I want. This is how I want it to feel. Everything. She nailed everything. Absolute legend, like.
Yeah, I mean, you can look it up pretty easily, and we're going to show, like, a little bit of, like, because the merch has it on it anyway, like, merch in development. But it's definitely very well made. It's like, I would say it also ties in very well. Despite all the things that you kind of mentioned that are, like, all, like, essentially, like, shoved in there, but it's so well, like, organized, and it just doesn't feel busy at all. It actually feels just very well fleshed out, very mature. And just really nice to listen to. And it's very immersive. Like, I think like with the first track, Interlude, and the last track, like all of them, they just kind of like really soothe out the album, like smooth things out really nicely.
Yeah.
And you did a really good job, like in terms of like when I listen to the album, I don't feel like anything's out of place. It's just very easy to listen to. Like, there's a few times I've actually gone out, listened to it, and then I'll just be like, oh, it's back to the first track. I just didn't even realize.
Yeah.
And that's like how much it means, like the whole thing, like as a piece of work.
I think that has to do with as I was mentioning before, the left to right, like organizing the tracks in a particular way so they sound cohesive. Because if I were to just have all the songs that's just in a random order, you probably wouldn't get that same feeling. I feel like that's hard in itself in choosing the correct songs in the right order. I know even at the beginning I struggled with it because I didn't realize how many sadder songs there were in the album. And it sounded too messy having things sort of like sad and happy, then sad and happy. So I had to really sit down and figure out the organization of how can I tell this story. And so you can tell at the beginning it's a bit more happier and fun. and then it goes down this darker path. It goes into the interlude, and then it's sort of it's talking about using those sad times and the fears in the track Fear, using those and how I can pivot from that, and then in Standard it's back into the like, I'm doing this shit, you know, like yeah.
So then I guess let's go through and start going through the tracks one by one. You can tell us a little bit in more detail if there's anything new to add.
Yep.
So obviously with the first track opening up, that very cinematic piece I was talking about, it's called Past, Future, Present.
Yeah.
So
the inspiration from that, I can't remember, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was a Billie Eilish song. I think I was on the way to dropping the missus off at work and it came up. And it's so weird how I get inspiration from stuff. People always ask me, where do you get your inspiration from? It's not always just music. It's sometimes just an idea that comes to my head and I write it down or I screenshot whatever it is and then I come back to it later. So we were driving to her work and there was a Billie Eilish song on it. I don't even know, I think it was a Heartbeat or something. I can't name what
she uses a lot of interesting sound effects too, so I can imagine that's very inspiring.
Yeah, and it was very cinematic and slow and like very pocketed, which is like, I'm also very pocketed in that. That's where the idea came, and I think it was missing, that song wasn't on the album, it was missing something, and I feel like that sort of tied everything back into the theme of what the album is. Yeah.
It is interesting, isn't it, as well, as an artist, like, there's often times where you kind of need things done in a certain order, but you kind of work it obviously out of place anyway. But then, like, eventually, you just kind of have to wait things out because inspiration just comes when it comes. And you kind of have to, like, get that right moment.
I think the biggest thing is just create and have fun with it. And then if you want to make a bigger piece, you've just got to piece it together. All the stars align. Like, something happens as an art, like, you feel something within you and you're like, all right, this is how it has to happen for it to work. But in the moment, you don't think that. You just create and then it just happens.
Yeah, because I imagine working under time pressure would make it a lot more complicated. Like, if you said, like, oh, you have, like, 1 month to launch this album, and you'd be like, how am I going to do that?
Yeah. That's there's a lot of problem solving when it comes to any business related or music related things. It's just, I need this done by this time, how can I do it? And you, instead of looking at the problem and screaming, you go, what do I do? You sort of just break it down and you make it as easy as you can. And consistency is everything. If you break it down enough and it turns into 30 minutes a day or something, instead of you have this one thing that you need to complete in a month, but it's one big task and it's going to take you a month. You're like, what do I do? Blah, blah, blah. Instead, you break it down. You're like, all right, if I do 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, it just makes life so much easier.
Yeah. Again, that's what I mean, like, with consistency. You're obviously very, very mature for your age.
Yeah.
And then after the first song, we go into one of the greats, which is pretty cool, featuring Jaden Wakefield. Yep.
So, originally, this is funny, it's going to be a hot take. I hated this song, hey.
Really?
And it's not the version on the album, the original.
Oh, okay.
The reason for it, I bought this verse off of Jaden when I first met him. I hadn't even met him in person. It was when I first got to know him. I think I was following him for a little while, and then he posted something on the story saying he's doing cheap features, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go in, I like your style. And I remember when we created it, I had written a verse that day, sent it back to him that day, and then he sent me something, I think a couple of days later. I fucked with it really a lot then, and I think that also gave me a lot of confidence because I saw the skill and effort he put in, and I saw the skill and effort I put in. I actually felt like I'd matched someone, and not that I ever try and compete with people, but that gave me so much confidence because I was always like, when you first start anything, you don't feel good enough, or you feel like, people are looking at you and judging you or whatever, and that was the moment where I did that. I was like, I can do this shit, I can do what these other people, bigger people are doing. So it was created all the way back then, and we went through our producer, and there was so much back and forth and so many versions of the track that it just became such a headache, man. And that had nothing to do with the producer or anything. That was just, there was a lot of miscommunication and different factors, stuff happening in my life, stuff happening in Jaden's life, then the producer's life.
Yeah. And I guess we should mention also the fact that, because he lives in Brisbane, right?
Yes,
Brisbane.
correct.
So obviously, we're in Sydney.
Yeah.
So there's a big of a difference there. Doing everything remotely, I think, often complicates things when you're dealing with tech in between as well.
But it was a massive headache. And then I had someone commenting on my TikTok videos. I looked at her page, and saw she could sing her fucking ass off. That was Frankie Stone.
Okay.
And so I hit her up. I was like, bro, I need vocals for this track. Can you give me anything? My initial idea was she wasn't an artist at the time. She hadn't released anything. She was just doing, I think it was a cover of Frank Sinatra or something. And I was gonna write something for her to sing, and then she sent me the hook, what it is, and she's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about it, like blah blah blah. If it needs adjusting, I'm like, we're using it. This is the hook, and that's what it is today. And then also on the album version in Silverty, he was a winner of a competition I did for an open verse challenge, and the promise was that I would throw him on the album and give him an extra feature, and so that's what happened, and that's what's on the track. And in my opinion, I prefer the remake of the track anyways.
Okay.
I think it sounds a lot cleaner.
Yeah, because like I noticed as well, like because I've also known Jaden for a while, like from following him, not in person, but like he's also one of the artists that popped up around, I think like around the time you surfaced on my page. After a while, he popped up as well.
Yeah.
And from like what I see him talk about in terms of what he shares in his personal life and also like his musical journey, I feel like you two have a lot that line, like in terms of values, and that makes a huge difference in terms of what your music's about, like the positivity, which is like one thing that I think we kind of recapped that, but obviously to grow and remember, you know, that's a lot of like positive energy, and it's one of those things that sets you apart from a lot of rappers. It's not about like that sex, drugs, those kind of stuff. That's kind of like just the mainstream idea, and it's just kind of easy to write about. You know, it doesn't really like go anywhere specifically, but yours is very much about storytelling and kind of building that kind of positive life.
Yeah, and it's a gift and a curse, because there is a lot of complications that come with that, because I am very different. But I've always been very different and made it work. And I feel like I'm in a position where I can choose what I'm doing and it doesn't matter. Like, and I feel like that's what's going to be the difference.
Yeah.
I recently came into the realization that I don't particularly like performing, and I was like, what is that? Like, why do I not like performing that much? And I sat down and tried to analyze it, and it wasn't about people get nervous about jumping up on stage or whatever it is. It's not about that. It's not about performing. There's like so many different factors, and the main ones are me as a person. I fight against everything of what I am to be at a show. So it has nothing to do with performing. It has to do with venue. It has to do with the people there, the environment. Like, everything else is going on exactly what you said. Like, people are into partying, sex, drugs, whatever it is. And I'm all about trying to be the best version of myself and try and push positivity and stuff. And I feel like when I'm in that environment, I'm just going back to the older me. Like, I'm just welcoming that bad side of me back in. And so it goes against everything that I'm trying to push. So it's a gift and a curse. So
it's like the circle, like it's kind of like limiting in a way, you mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like that would also be like you're kind of pushing like a new movement, and that would probably also what makes you special. And eventually, I think that's like what attracted like the studio as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, with the right movement and like push, you'll probably open up a whole new area. Because like I've been to one of the events where he's performed at, and people really enjoyed it. And yeah, you definitely don't have any issues with performing on stage. You're very good with the crowd, which I noticed, which I think is amazing for your age.
Yep.
I'm just like kind of blown away. I was just like, you're so okay with everything, and you just like jumped up and just kind of just got everything going.
It's so funny that you say that too, because I guarantee most artists are like this. Not every artist. Some of them jump up, have a great time, come off, they're all joy. Me, bro, like the whole time before the performance, I really don't want to get up there, and then I get up and I still don't want to. I come off, I'm like.
And you're not the first or the last, so it's like I feel like actually I think last is probably worse, right? After you've seen everyone perform.
Last is harder, definitely, because most of the time it's a lot later. Again, I'm someone that wakes up at 6 or earlier every single day.
That's the funniest thing.
Yeah, every single day. And so when I go to an event, it's like I'm forcing myself to stay awake just to fucking be there. And I live very far out west as well. Like, it takes a long time to get home. There's so many factors. But I forget where I was going with that.
But like the hour thing, I thought was like one thing I remember like laughing so much about, because it's just the last thing I would imagine a rapper complaining about. It's like, 10 o'clock's a bit late for me.
Yeah, bro, it's past my bedtime. Like, I've got to be up and at 'em in the morning.
Actually, you did mention that obviously with your travel distance, that's just actually, because I had a friend who lived out west as well. She's like, she always has to kind of be the first one to go, so, gonna the drink's gonna wrap up. You
Yeah.
gotta get home at a reasonable time.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 o'clock, but she has to get home and she won't be home till like 12:30 or something.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
That's what I was going to get to. If you're performing last, you've got to deal with. So that's where my head is. Imagine everyone else in the crowd. Like it gets, it gets late, and they're like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like it's getting late. It's the end of the show. They pay less attention. It's so much harder to engage that crowd. That's if they haven't already left as well. Most people already leave by that point. You know,
a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So it makes it a lot harder.
Next one. This is actually one of my favorite songs. I would say this is probably sitting right at the top, if not the first one. One of the first ones. That I was like, my number one like favorite, Bare Minimum. Listened to that song so many times, like anytime, anywhere.
That's again. So this was one of the tracks where this wasn't an old memory or anything. This is more present moment. This was I had moved out of home with my mom, with one of my mates that I was mates with from school, and there was a circle of us. There's like 10 of us, and everyone always complimented that, going like, how have you guys been friends for so long and you're still friends, you're all so close, like you should truly nurture that, because not a lot of people have that. You leave high school, you lose all these friends and stuff, you're lucky if you have one or two.
Yeah.
But we all stayed very tight. And so I lived with this friend for a while. I won't get into the nitty gritty of it, but he did a lot of like very bad shit towards me and my partner and her friend, and it eventually led to him kicking me out of the house because he felt too scared from me being in the house. And so that whole song's just a diss track to him. Like,
I noticed. It was great though.
And
so
because I know for a fact that he or anyone in that group wouldn't have expected that. I remember we always would go over to someone's house, and I don't know if you know the game Jackbox. It's like you all play on your phone.
Who's that?
No. So it's like a group activity game. Like you could put it on a TV and everyone's on their phones, and it's like there's a bunch of like mini games almost, or party games. And one of them is a rap battle thing, and I was always someone that came last in that because I can't diss people, like.
Yeah.
And they'd always give me shit for it. They're like, "Oh, you're a rapper. You should be able to diss this, blah blah blah." And so I feel like no one was expecting me to drop a diss track. And, yeah. And I think it sounds like a banger. The other funny thing and ironic thing is my missus, I had met her the day I had moved out into that house, and she's heavy into drum and bass, and it's tied back into drum and bass. That's what that track is. It's the first time I've made it. So it's drum and bass, which is tied to her when I first moved in, and then it's a diss to my mate for when I moved out. So it's like a full circle moment.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like same with the lyrics as well. I thought it was very interesting. Like blood-sucking carnivore is such a like very interesting lyric to me.
Yeah.
But it makes so much sense. But it's like so unique compared to like the whole like vampire kind of like parasitical kind of like those kind of like things are kind of overused.
Yeah.
And yours is very, very much different. It's more like animalistic.
Well, I'm going to use this podcast to my advantage. The whole idea, if you listen to the hook and a lot of the words, relates to bears, being bare minimum.
Okay.
Polar opposite, polar bears. The blood-sucking carnivore, and then I say period after. I was being gross there and just joking around.
It's so great though. The song just has so many great moments.
Yeah. Hair, something about claws, hair on your back, like a lot of it refers to a bear. Yeah.
That's another thing I want to mention. Like all the sound effects you add in there, like were so great. It just ties into with the song so well, but it also just makes it so interesting to listen to because it's like a pretty fast beat song.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, but it's just very exciting. Like like what I said before, you said like the whole hair on the back thing. You kind of like diss that as well, go like ugh.
Yeah.
And then there's another one. It was like I wanted to ask about. It's the moment where you kind of almost do like a growling. It's like grr. And it kind of like almost like fast forwards or something. It's a really cool effect. Very, very like that's the one thing that kind of lingered in my mind when I first listened to it.
Yeah. Hectic. Yeah, well I feel like I mentioned a bar about aggression, like pissing people off or something, and I use that, and it's a bear growl, like it's me referring to bears again.
Yeah.
So really trying to tie that theme into it. That's the other big thing that I find that I do very different to a lot of people is, and I can't help it, it's my autistic mindset of if I write a song, it has to mean, there's got to be hidden meaning, there's got to be layers to everything, so I make it have layers to everything, and just in that, like, that was me supposed to be having fun or writing a diss, but I've related it to bears and, like, all these, like, underlining themes and stuff. sometimes, again, that's another thing that's a gift or a curse.
Yeah, like that's like for me. I think like when you do stuff like that, obviously, I mean, it's part of passion and kind of enjoyment. It makes it really fun doing your job. But also, I've noticed like with the way that you play around with things, and obviously saying like the few songs that you've made that people don't expect, but like it still ties in with the album so well. It just kind of really shows, like, goes to show how like different you can be, like your potential is probably the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So like each song kind of has been demonstrating a lot of different potential and different styles that you can lean into while still kind of maintaining your like branding, which I think is so much harder than like, you know, said.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of just me experimenting until I think the whole idea was me experimenting until I found something that fit. But with that, there's underlining themes and stuff that is me. Like if you hear something come up, you could probably tell it's me. But it's always different at the same time. And that was never my intention to create that sound to begin with. But I feel like that's something I've really rolled with. And even for next year, I have an idea of a sound, quote unquote, that I'm trying to push. But I know for a fact it's not going to stay like that. It's going to be so much experimenting within that sound while also keeping some key theme parts like the bird calls and like nature related comments and stuff, you know.
So the next song that comes on is Growing.
Yeah. This was another older track. I don't even know if this was going to be in the album either, but I think it was a perfect showcase of me as an artist and what the album is. And that was another track that if I didn't release it then, I probably would never release it. It would have just been a throwaway track. So it's like, fuck it, why not put it in there? And I think even when I first started making performance content and stuff, Breezy was the one that helped me out. And I think I recorded it with him way back then. I think I ended up re-recording vocals, but I recorded it with him way back then. I remember, actually it was at the same time that I had heard about this deal. That's when it was. Because I remember having the conversation with him bro, so much has happened in such a short period of time. Because I was having a conversation with him and he was concerned, saying like, you know, what if you sign this and your sound completely changes or you're not doing what you want to do anymore? And it was a year contract. I was like, bro, look, worst case scenario, I sign up for a year and I'm back where I was at the beginning. If anything, I'm still up because I've learned all the things I've learned within that year. And bro, I am so glad I listened to myself and just fucking went with it, because it's now been a 2-year contract that's going to renew again for next year. And I have achieved so much. I've learned so much. And metric wise, like seeing numbers and stuff, I'm so much further behind than everyone else. But all the groundwork that I've done and all the stuff I've learned and developed is, I've gone way past them, man. And it's due to all the stuff that I've done, and Beats with Chef have helped so much with that, bro. Like, I'm beyond grateful for everything they've done for me, because it's not even necessarily what they have done, but I've just realized so much about myself just being with them and being surrounded by people that are like-minded and driven. And it's not just even them. Like, I want to shout out Dubsy as well. He's another person that, especially recently, I've met, and just having conversation with him, I would have never met him if I didn't stay connected and stayed a part of this, you know. And I've had my ups and downs with him. Before I signed the deal, before I even knew about it, I was going to stop using them because they got too expensive, and I tried other options. And then the deal came about and I was like, fuck, this is even more money, blah, blah, blah. Ended up taking that risk. And I'm now at a point where a lot of stuff in my life had changed. I'd moved out of home by myself, and that's where I am now. And I was like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to afford this. I made it work in the end, and now I'm fine. I'm better off, and now I'm doing crazy shit financially, and it's all mindset, bro. Like, and I would not have learned that without being with them, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously a very good company, very positive energy, and like from the performances that I've seen, like when everyone got together for that event that I was referring to, yeah, you're right up there with them. And considering your age, I'm assuming you're probably one of the youngest there. Probably.
We're all roughly around the same age.
Okay.
I think there was one younger, definitely, which was Fortune.
Okay.
I don't even know if he showed up to the show or not.
He was the last one, wasn't he? I think the one that barely made it to the...
Yeah, he was one of the last ones.
Yeah. But you can tell, like, the whole energy of the show, like, it was quite positive.
Yeah.
And it was very diverse as well, which is obviously another thing you often want to look for.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats on the renewal as well.
Thanks, man.
It's next year.
Yeah. I'm so keen because there's more and more opportunity, more and more growth, and it's just it's not just going into a studio, recording a song and leaving, and that's it. Like, there are so many layers to what they provide, and that's why I forgot where I was going to go with that before. But the thing is, so I moved out and I was like, I can't do all this shit financially. And I said, look, worst case scenario, end of the year, my deal ends, it's an extra X amount of money I get, I'll be fucking fine. Like, I'll have so much money to myself now. I'm in a point where I've learned all this stuff and I can start by myself and do everything by myself. But then I thought more on it and I was like, bro, and it's not even about the music. The most value I get from them is just being around them and talking with them. Like, I smash out a session now. A session is supposed to go for 3 hours. I think I normally smash out recording and everything within an hour. But I'm there for like 4.5 hours because most of it is just us talking. Just soaking all of that in. If I'm not around that, then I'm not getting that. And I even said to them, it's like, to me, I'm paying a service, which is supposed to be recording music, mix and master, whatever it is. But I'm not even paying them for that right now. I'm paying them for knowledge. Like, everything they're teaching me knowledge-wise, that's the true value, and I can't lose that.
It's like years and years of experience, like, kind of condensed into this conversation.
Well, it's even
incredible.
It's that, but it's also, there's not a lot more people like me that I'm always trying to learn new shit and improve my skills and do different stuff.
Well.
And they're also like that, bro. They are as big as they are, but they're constantly like, what can we do next to improve our business? Or what can we do next to get to this point and achieve the next thing? And they're constantly growing, bro. And I feel like a lot of even artists or producers just get comfortable. Like, say, for example, they do music full time and that's it. They're fine. They're happy. They're doing music full time. They've achieved what they want. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they just keep pushing the limits more and more and more. And I try and do the same shit.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I never took that contract in the beginning, if I would be in this same position or not.
This is like not part of the question I wrote, but I remember this is something I was very interested in, like, asking you about. And it's kind of in relation to that, because it's like, when you continue to like push your like potentials, obviously there's going to be like changes to your music, like, to a degree, in style or like the way you kind of portray things. Is there sort of like a genre of music that's not really like expected that you listen to, or like you kind of get inspiration from, or you kind of work towards like incorporating into your stuff at the moment?
Again, I get inspiration from everywhere, and I listen. You'd be surprised how many different genres I actually listen to.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because I'm like, do rappers listen to? I was thinking that the other day when I was listening to your like album. I'm like, do rappers listen to rap songs only, or do they suddenly also feel some classical vibes and like go really, really like drastically off the spectrum?
Yeah, I think recently I still listen to hip hop. I think that's like a given. That will always come up.
Yeah.
I've been listening to so much indie stuff like Tame Impala and stuff, and even just like older like Thundercats, like Empire of the Sun, like older stuff like that. I've been listening to heaps of that recently. Even there was another track where there was supposed to be a big feature, but there's still a lot of unconfirms. When my brother came up with the idea, and he listens to a lot of heavy metal, and he was like, I want to write this song or want something creative, but I have no idea how to do it. And I was like, let me help you out. I'll do it for you. And I was going to get this big feature on it and stuff, and that was so different again. So like getting inspiration from that, I think seeing a challenge and taking it full on, that's where it comes from. Like there's never like if I say no to something, it feels like I'm being closed-minded. So I guess, yes, I listen to a lot of different genres.
That's very cool.
Again, like a lot of, because of my partner, a lot of EDM, like a lot of drum and bass or jungle, or even house and stuff. I used to hate house music. I listen to house. I listen to some pop stuff now. Couldn't stand pop, couldn't stand trap. I listen to trap. Like, there's a lot, bro. Like, it's just I think trying to soak in everything and create something out of all of that.
Yeah. That's definitely an accurate depiction of like what you've created as well.
Yeah.
All right. We talked a few times about this song. So the next one that comes up is "And This."
Yeah. Yeah. So going back to that, this was promise I made to my partner at the time. There was actually 2 tracks that I'd written for her. One was for an anniversary, but that didn't mean as much to me. I never made a promise to release that one. It was mainly just this one. And I think there was a lot of weight to it because this was before we had even dated. There was a lot of bad shit that was happening in her life, and I still stuck around and stuck it out. And I think I'm talk about that within the track. And my partner now would not like me even talking about this, but this is the art of it, bro.
Special.
This is what art is. And now it doesn't mean that because she's not in my life. She hasn't been for years and years and years. I think we split when I was 19. I'm 24, so that's 5 years ago. So it definitely means something more. But as I mentioned before, it now is fuel to the fire. Like, it's the same idea of promising stuff to myself. I've always said I hate making any promises because I don't know if I can keep a promise. Like, things change all the time. I don't want to promise something and then something changes and then I break that promise because I know it's possible. And people can say, well, why don't you just stick to it? It's like, because the promise doesn't mean that much to me. I will promise something if it really means a lot to me. And that was something that meant a lot to me. So it's using that same energy to promise stuff to myself to achieve what I want to achieve.
That's really cool. So in terms of like that song, how long ago did you write it again?
I think it was 18.
18. Yeah. Wow. And you haven't did you edit the lyrics or anything at all?
Yes, I think the hook did change. The hook changed. I probably wrote that it wasn't that long ago. I think me and the partner, actually, current partner, had a fight, and I had rewritten the hook, and it sort of meant something else again. I think that's actually after she just found out that song was getting released, and she was not happy about it at all.
She's kind of that seems like a significant thing to do.
Yeah, which I get. I think that's the other thing that a lot of artists don't talk about, bro. Like, to me, something like that is art. Like, it doesn't matter what it means or how it means something. Like, and a lot of people look shit different. Like, from an outside view, she would see that and she's like, you're releasing a song about your ex. Like, clearly you still care about her.
It's honestly the things girls' friends care about though.
Yeah. And I can fully understand and respect that, but that's not what it is to me. And
it's kind of just like a layer of one of the many things it means now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it. And one of the excuses would be well, if you don't care about her anymore, then why does it fucking mean anything to you? It's because it's changed, bro. It's not about her, it's about me. It's about that promise that I had made to her, and I'm holding on to the promise, not for her, for me, and there's a massive power in that, man. Yeah.
I mean, because if you think of it, you remember when in our first interview when we were talking about your songs, and I was saying Butterfly, I really like that song,
yeah.
And then you were like, oh, actually, that's one of my least favorite or something,
yeah.
And it's because of the style, and as I get to know your music more, I'm like, hey, I kind of understand how that's really not what you're about.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah.
And if you think of songs in your discography, they're kind of stepping stones of your history, and you're kind of evolving with each step of it, with each release, it's kind of like a moment. And I guess that song's in a way like that. It kind of marks that specific moment of growth. And again, it has resurfaced because there's new growth, and it's kind of I guess you can say it's a juxtaposition.
Yeah.
And kind of comparing you, but it's also kind of renewing things in a way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I think even in rewriting the hook for that too, it shows the different meaning. Because I think, what do I say? I can't remember. Something about burning holes in my pocket. Guess I've earned this.
Mm.
And it's talking about it once felt like worth, that relationship was worth something to me, but it ended up burning through and falling through the pocket. And it's I guess I've earned this. And it's talking about if that never were to happen, then I wouldn't be releasing this song right now. If I didn't go through this shit, then I wouldn't be in the good position I'm in now. I feel that's another very important thing, and something I carry with the name TGAR is using those memories and mistakes and not repeating those same mistakes. Not shoving shit away and going, that this was a bad memory or a bad time in my life. I don't want to ever think about that again. It's using that energy to go, okay, how can I not repeat that? Or how can I use this bad energy to then bring good energy? So I think, if I didn't rewrite that hook, then maybe it would have meant something else. But I think in rewriting it showcased the fact that it doesn't mean the same thing anymore.
Yeah, and like tying in with the album, it really brings it to the present.
Yeah.
Something drawing from the past.
Yeah.
And then the next song, obviously, this is a very fun one that I remember when you first told me about it. We went on a shoot together and I was just like being told, I think you shared a little bit with me, like you played a little bit for me.
Was this when we were recording Content in the City?
Yeah. Was that when I like first heard Fuck Country?
Potentially, yeah, I probably showed it to you.
Yeah, I think you showed me a little bit and I was just immediately like, this is like unexpected, but it's really, really amazing.
Yeah. And this goes
fun.
It goes back to what I was just talking about with genres of music before. The whole idea of the song was, I hate country music. How can I flip it on its head and do something that's sort of like country and, provoke and make fun of it, but still make it me at the same time? And that you could hear me doing like a country twang in my voice and stuff, really experimenting there. And I remember as well, I can't remember what I was going to call it, but it was going to be something named within the hook. So it was like, what did I say in the end of it? I don't know. But anyways, I was going to call it Fuck Country originally and then call it something. That's why I'm like, I can't call it country. So the boys in the room are like, bro, that's crack up. Just call it Fuck Country. Who cares? That's great.
It's such a memorable name.
Yeah.
It's impossible. And it's like, it's just, as soon as you like see the title, you're just like, I'm expecting great things from this song.
Yeah, well, that's like, it's especially the day and age we are now where you've got to hook everyone on everything. It's like people are going to see that name and go, what on earth is this? I want to listen to it,
Yeah, because like, with like, and also like the bottle clinking and all those like cool sound effects that like make it really fun that you put in there.
Yeah.
It actually makes me think of, do you know the song Tipsy at the Bar?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like a really like, opposite version of it.
Yeah.
In like the best way possible.
Yeah.
That's a great song, but I just think like this song really. So then we just have two more songs left. We have Fear, which I thought was a really good song. It's very, very interesting.
Yep. Probably one of my favorite tracks I've made to date. It's not on the happier side. It sounds more grungy and sad, but there's a lot of like growth in what I am saying. There's a lot of darker moments too. This, I feel like, again, encapsulates a lot of the album because it talks about a lot of different points, especially mentioning what I'd said before about the ABO had against my brother. It talks about all the aggression and stuff that was around in my childhood, and I had memories of like, I'd always hide under mum's bed and call the cops like it was a regular occasion. And so I mentioned stuff like that, and using like those parts of my childhood of being scared and having that fear. And I even mentioned my dad, my ex, using those moments to then redirect it and turn it into something positive. And even like sound-wise, I feel like I really played around with a very ominous sort of like almost smoky street sort of like style to it. I really wanted to play around with that and create something different. And I feel like I nailed it on the head.
Yeah, because like when you played that track, I remember like the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, like feeling overall is pretty grey, kind of like a little bit of that kind of a looming storm kind of feeling, but at the same time there was something very peculiar about it that kind of draws you in, makes you like really captivated by it. And then I guess it wraps up with Standard.
This was another track that I think I was using Newborn Noise. Another shout out to Newborn Noise, because your homie Capo, he was the one that produced my first ever track as well. He also mixed and mastered it, and this was a time where I was using a lot of his beats and going through his beat store, and I hadn't used them in a while, but I was still like looking through and writing stuff to all of his beats and stuff, and the beat that it is now came up, and I bought because he does a lot of licensing and stuff, so he doesn't fully sell his tracks, but this is something I was like, bro, I want to fully buy the track. I don't care how much it costs. I need it. And so I did. And again, this was another track that I recorded in that same moment in Melbourne. So that diary entry there, I think I had written, that wasn't for the song at all. That was genuinely an entry note to my book where I started taking music seriously. So this was after I'd split with my ex, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to take music serious. I'm going to start writing seriously, because I've probably been writing since, I think my first ever song I wrote, I was in high school. I think it was like year 8 or year 9 or something. And I've talked about this before. Don't go searching for it. It was a Minecraft parody to Roll in Peace by Kodak Black. And
it's out there on the internet now.
it's still out there. I don't search it, but it is out there. And I purposely used all the same rhyme schemes and patterns that they use it within the track, but then also, like, I think the bridge part, I purposely made it sound really cringe and changed it to a song by Ariana Grande. Like, I really had fun with it, and it was supposed to be, I fucking hated school. I never worked at school at all, never paid attention, I was hardly ever there. And this was a computer class, and I remember seeing it was like, I think it was a video editing project, so we had to produce something that was a video that also had sound in it to showcase that we knew how to use Premiere Pro. And so I went above and beyond for it. I made a video clip and everything for it. I got my homies to help me shoot it on their shitty, like, old school Androids and stuff in their Honda Civic that barely ran. And I had a lot of fun with that, and I had a lot of good feedback from that too, even though I was literally just taking the piss the whole time. And I feel like that sort of started me to write. I'm pretty sure that was, maybe the one about my dad was one of the first. Maybe it was before that. So I was about, maybe I lied, maybe I was like 14, 15. I think that's when I first started writing. And so it developed more and more. So it was just like, at the time I used it as like a meditation. Like, if I wasn't in the best headspace or whatever, I used it, instead of talking to people, I would write stuff down, write songs or whatever. And that developed obviously further and further because I was writing every now and then. And I was sending my partner and something meant something to me, and I'd written that, and then I was still writing while I was with her as well. Fun fact as well, I was also playing Dungeons and Dragons at the time, so I was doing a lot of actual handwriting anyways. So I was constantly, I had a book, I think it had songs in there I was writing, but then also like notes and stuff for Dungeons and Dragons, which, if you've played that game before, bro, takes so much writing. Like, there's so much prep work that goes into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what started me, and then again, that promise is what, like, we split, and that's what drove me to go, fuck it, I'm gonna take this shit seriously. So I'd already had heaps of songs that I had written, but I was consistently doing it. I think probably for like maybe a year and a half. It was like every single day, just writing every day to try and improve that skill. And yeah, then now I'm here today. Like, it's taken me to where I am, and I'm going to choose to continue to use that to push me further and further and further. Yeah.
That's great. But like, with like the entry in particular, how did you end up deciding on that one in particular?
The diary entry?
Yeah.
So I'll go back to that. That was genuinely me just taking, that was a diary entry to the start of the book. When I first bought the book, that was the date that I bought it, whatever date I mentioned, it's June 22 or something, or 21. And that was, I genuinely just bought that book solely for writing music and stuff. And so that was genuinely the first thing I ever wrote in that book before I started writing music seriously.
So it's kind of like a reminder of like where things started, but also like where you wanted to be at, and kind of like come full circle, as you said.
Yeah.
So it kind of ties everything in nicely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we kind of, I guess, like, it kind of answered it at some stage, but how long did this project take you roughly? Because you started like the first piece quite a long time ago. Right?
Yeah.
But there might have been a bit of a gap there.
Yeah, so I wasn't like solely working on it, because I had the different idea at the beginning, and I started working on it, and then I was like, oh fuck, I'm not going to make an album. I had put into my head, it was like, no, you don't have a big enough audience, just keep releasing singles until something blows up, and then once you have people that care, that want to listen, then release an album, which I think is still the approach you should take. The only reason I did otherwise was because I needed to get it out, and it was something that was weighing on me heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
Because it meant so much to me, and it was a piece of me, and it was something that I just had to get out there. I feel like people do it because they're like, oh, this is what's going to make me blow up, or I'm going to get heaps of streams off of this. I didn't really care about that with this album. This album was more for me, and
for growth.
Yeah, and I think I fuck with it heavily. If people fuck with it, they do. If they don't, it's whatever. That's not what the purpose of the album is there for.
Yeah. Because, like, there's definitely different artists that I've, like, talked to, and they, like, there's people who kind of prefer, like, one artist has said he prefers to gain a certain amount of following, then release one song, then gain to a certain amount and then release the second,
Yeah.
which is quite an interesting approach, I think, as well.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like you as an artist, from the way I see it, like, and have experienced, like, you're definitely quite eager to kind of like go full blown out, like, and really kind of push and see where things can go.
Yeah.
Like, that's not really what you're about. And you know, you've definitely done it. So
Yeah.
that's very exciting to see where things go from here. Like, there's still quite a bit of a chunk before the year ends.
Yeah.
So,
well, even like where I'm at right now, and I've talked about this on my podcast and in my streams, is I don't know if I fully fleshed it out, to be honest, but I haven't mentioned it. I'm still going to be making music. Music isn't going to be at the forefront. To other people, like if you see me releasing stuff, I'm still going to be super consistent, and that's what it's going to look like. But I've also got other endeavours behind the scenes as well. I'm currently working on starting my own clothing line. So not even merchandise, but clothing line. That is separate from TGAR, but still ties back into the growth and whatever. Like, it still ties into it. And I'm creating this big circle of community where I'm tying everything in, but it's not the end all or be all. Like, you don't have to come listen to my music or whatever. I'm just an artist, but I also have a clothing line. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it still ties in with that. And I feel like there will be discovery in that. Like, say I get people buying my clothes and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this dude makes music, that's sick. Or people listen to the music and fuck with it, they're like, this dude has a clothing line, that's sick.
Yeah.
But not making it TGAR merchandise. It's more its own thing.
Yeah.
And so,
not limiting yourself, essentially.
Yeah, that's the plan for right now, and I'm trying to stay as strict as possible to that and really push that, and that's another way to push my boundaries. I'm now at a place where musically I'm in a good spot. I'm still going to experiment, push the boundaries on that, but I'm also going to be pushing the boundaries even further and creating business from this, because I feel like for me music means more than money. It means so much more than money. Yes, you can make good money out of it, but it means so much more. And even with this clothing line, the message and the purpose I have behind it means so much to me, but I feel like I've always wanted to do something full-time where I can work for myself full-time and not work a 9 to 5 or work for someone else. And I feel like this is the avenue I can take, rather than compromising the music as well, like, because I don't want it to be about selling the music.
Like, I wanted to say, like, there's a couple of artists, including yourself, like, that I feel like, do you know John Bellion?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you can look him up because you might find him quite interesting. He's kind of a pop artist, I guess, but like it's a little alternative.
Yep.
And he does a lot of, like, when you look into his background tracks, those are like the videos that are very interesting, like behind the scenes.
Yep.
He's often doing like these weird sounds, and you're just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, literally, when you just be like, this is not going to sound good in any way. And then suddenly it just turned into this like really incredible song track, like with all these layers in it. And I feel like that would be something that's right up your alley.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you kind of remind me of like that same category of artists. They're very much about like, because he's disappeared for a while. He's just recently come back and thrown in 2 tracks, and he's like kind of gone again.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just very much about evolving his music, and it's like quite different from every different one. You can see like an evolution happening.
Yeah.
And like the growth in that artist.
Yeah. So
I could kind of imagine you going like pretty much in that direction.
Yeah. And it's always learning to balance everything and not handle. My biggest problem is always taking on more than I can handle, and I still handle it. So I just completely dry myself out, and it's a fucking problem. And then I get to that point, even my missus points it out all the time, it's like, when things are the toughest, I put the most on my plate. I don't know why that is. Something about me just...
Something about you just wants to challenge yourself.
I just want to struggle. I love the struggle, and I think it has to do with my upbringing of always being around struggle, and it's a different type of struggle. But it's like, if it's not hard enough, then I'll make it harder, sort of thing.
You're probably accustomed to kind of just finding your limits and kind of really renewing yourself, I guess.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's a good thing because it's put me... sometimes it's bad on my health, and I need to take care more about my health. But it pushes me to like limits that I feel like a lot of people don't even realize are possible to push past, you know? And I want to use that energy to just keep going further and further. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see you going somewhere really, really good this year. It's like so many things, good things have already happened for you.
Yeah.
So the other thing that obviously comes with albums, there's probably some planned events or things that you are interested in doing. Let's say if there's nothing quite lined up yet.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I've got a show coming up next week. I don't know when this will come out.
This one's the one at Soda Factory?
Yeah, Soda Factory.
Yeah.
That's next Sunday. Other than that, not particularly, bro. I've become a bit of a hermit. I've just been...
That's pretty much artists before the album release, isn't it?
Oh, bro, it's just...
Secluded.
Again, it's a gift and a curse because I just seclude myself. It's just work, and I...
See sunlight.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, even recently sometimes, because I live by myself, like, I'm just constantly at the desk. I'm like, you know what? Instead of working inside in the same spot, I'm going to go take my chair outside and just work outside. So just trying to change the scenery, like, and do something other than that.
While you're trying to crank out all the lyrics.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, and like, say if people want to kind of keep an eye on the event, like, is there any way they can?
Yeah, if you go to my Instagram, link in my bio. If not, I will be updating my mailing list. If you want to be added to that, hit me up on any socials or anything, and I'll add you to my mailing list. It's always good. There's also weekly reminders for my podcast and stuff about what I'm talking about.
Because your YouTube and your Instagram, they're all underneath the same name, right?
Yes, just TGAR.
TGAR.
I think .official,
right?
I think maybe that's Instagram and TikTok have official.
Instagram, yeah.
YouTube is just TGAR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Just so that people can find and get all the juicy stuff.
Also, if you want to go listen to my music as well, same thing, streaming platforms. It's just TGAR, TGAR.
And you also do like podcasting now as well, and also like live streaming.
Live streaming. The live streamings have toned down a little bit just due to fucking a million things going on. But
and it's a pretty long session usually too. I think I tuned into one of them and I was like, after the show, I was like, oh, it's still going.
Yeah, because that's another thing where it's like, do I be consistent with that or be consistent with other things? The main reason I started streaming was just to showcase what I'm already doing behind the scenes anyways. Yeah. But a lot of the time there's other factors like I'm getting home super late or like, bro, my day job, I've been working 12-hour days recently and I come home and I've still got this shit to do and it's like, I smash out like 2-3 hours and I just pass out like it.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, and then like, I mean, like your live stream, it's also like, it's long because it's usually like a brainstorming process. So it's just kind of getting an eye on.
Yeah, well that's the thing too. I don't want to show up to stream and look like absolute shit or not be able to speak. Like I've noticed
it's you climbing back onto the table.
Yeah, because I've noticed in a couple of them, I'm just half the time I'm sitting there yawning, especially the reading streams. I'm just and like I can't read it properly because I'm just like stuttering over the same words and shit, and I don't want that.
Speaking of that, we forgot to mention that like that was a really interesting story to one of the songs. Which song was it that you had the
Growing?
Yeah, was it Growing that you cut out the tongue twister moment? So now that the album is complete, are there any artists or new producers you'd love to collaborate with? List.
It's an interesting one.
I thought that would be.
I think because I've been hermiting myself so much, it's hard to say.
Okay.
Someone I've got on my radar that's actually a friend of mine is Ofan at the moment. Who's just he hasn't made music for a long time, and he's just actually signed again with Beats with Chef. So I know he's making music again. I've hit him up. I'm keen to work on something with him.
Cool.
I feel like in the
very good timing as well.
Yeah, I feel like in the feel good realm I'm going with as well. He is a part of that, so I feel like it will tie in really nice.
Yeah.
That's all I can feel like. Genuinely, I think it's one of those things where it's right moment, right time. Like if someone comes up, someone else that's on my radar at the moment is Dion. He's from Brisbane. We may or may not have something in the works as well, so keep an eye out for that. There's still features that have been sat in the back pipe for a while too. There's potentially an EP coming at some point next year. I've just got to get the right timing, so I don't want to promise anything, but I've got multiple features on that as well. That's some of the stuff I've worked on with Breezy in his studio, where it's another one of those things that's, it's just got to be the right time to release, because it's a group of a sound that isn't going to be in a line with what I'm releasing next year, so it's just got to fit in the, like if the sound changes a bit, or there's a pocket where I need to drop a bigger thing, you know, like that will come. So no one on my radar as of right now, but except for Ofan, I definitely want to make something with him. I feel like that'd be sick.
Yeah. So it's more about like what you're after, like the sound you're after right now, or like the type of music, rather than the person just yet.
Yeah.
And then
because it makes it hard, because I'm rarely like on social media at all. The only time I'm on it is to post. That's like the only time.
Which is quite a lot of things that you still have to do.
Yeah, so I feel like it's hard to know who I want to collaborate with because I don't see other
You
artists.
don't doom scroll like me. I'm like on there all the time. That's how I find all the artists. Since our first chat, have you noticed any significant changes in your fan base or audience? This is something I asked you a little earlier. Like, has your number... Because I never really checked your following, actually.
Yeah, honestly, like I said before, it's been very stagnant. It hasn't really grown too much, but I have noticed the people who truly fuck with my stuff within that audience, and I'm putting them at the forefront of everything right now and trying to nurture those relationships because I feel like that's very important. As I continue to develop content and try and get better at that, I feel like that's something I still quote-unquote suck at. I still haven't mastered it. I feel like that's what's stopping a lot of my growth. So still learning that and getting more of an audience. I feel like I've learned everything and I know everything to the point where once I do figure it out and crack the code, I know how to nurture everyone. I know how to convert everyone. I know how to like branch them off into all these different areas. So I haven't noticed the change yet, but once that change does happen, I know what to do with that change.
Yeah, because like I guess like the good thing is once you get like sort of like a sort of concrete fan base going, a lot of times those people start kind of sharing with other people, and that's when it really starts to take off.
Yeah,
because they're that eager about it.
That's the biggest thing on Instagram, especially, is you get the most growth from people sharing stuff, which is actually very interesting.
When you share it as well.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen this person. Like,
but it pushes it. The more people share your stuff, so you can see there's like likes, comments, shares, and saves. The more people save and share your stuff, the more the algorithm actually pushes that video out
as well. Like, whether it's negative or positive, like.
But for the most part, I think Instagram, maybe TikTok's commenting, but Instagram is sharing. If you share someone's stuff, that's what pushes it out more.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is very interesting. Like, I didn't know that until recently.
It's a weird place, isn't it?
Yeah.
The statistics for it and how the algorithm works.
Yeah.
It's quite complicated.
Yeah.
And I guess for the final question, we've reached the end. After the album launch, can fans expect new music soon? Which I guess you kind of answered without the EP, which would be early next year.
There's also, I'm trying to end the year off with a bang. I think the album I'm going to let breathe. I've got one more song I want to drop for the year. But the feature on the track dropped off the face of the earth. So it's trying to... I really want to release a track, bro. It's an absolute banger. Fun fact, it was something that I had sent him bare minimum before I had a second verse written for it. I just spoiled it as a he. And they wrote to the instrumental at bare minimum, and then I finished writing bare minimum and recorded it. And so it's a rework of that. Flipped it on his fucking head. It's a sick track. And so I want to end the year with that, but I'm still trying to get in contact with him. His Instagram completely doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure TikTok the same. He's on Spotify and all the streaming platforms.
Is he just not very into social media kind of person?
No, he was like, bro, consistent, like so, just thing after thing after thing. And then he just disappeared. I've got his email. I've been hitting him up constantly and still haven't heard anything from him. So I want to do the right thing and get to him first, but it may come to a point where I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to drop the song, chuck him in as a feature.
See how things go.
See how it goes.
Well, I mean, that's very exciting considering that's definitely one of my top songs that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And to see like how you kind of flip it over.
Yeah. That's another very proud piece. I think, Breezy produced that track. We I think we spent like 3 sessions or 4 sessions on just that track, which is rare. I normally smash out a session like an hour and a half. We spent 3-4 sessions just on that track.
Yeah, and you and Breezy know each other for quite a long time, right?
Yeah, since I started releasing music, I think the first ever connection I met was with Capo, which is Newborn Noise, that I mentioned before. And then I met Breezy through Capo. So he was one of the first relationships I met through music. And so, yeah, we've been tight since. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And finally, is there anything you'd like to say to your fans before we wrap things up, as I always have a moment for?
Yeah. Again, if you want to hear more in detail about what I talk about, YouTube every single Monday, I release a podcast episode. I talk about some pretty raw stuff on there, in depth as well. So feel free to follow that. If you want to hear more of my music and stuff, it's, again, TGAR on all streaming platforms. I'm trying to really create a massive community and try and push everything to its limits. So if you want to follow along for that journey and you're interested in that, please come follow along. Not for the numbers on the screen, but just to actually be a part of it, because I care about each and every one of you. Thank you for having me on the show today as well. I really appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed myself. I hope you have as well.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, referring to, like, you, like, wanting to get to know people, like, I don't know if we covered the story in the first podcast, but basically, I remember you reaching out, like, very, very personally to me, like, when I liked, because your video popped up and I liked it, and I think I started following. And then initially when you reached out, I was just like, why is this person so friendly? I was like, is this a scam? And, like, got to talk to you and then realized that you were just actually an artist that was really personable.
Yeah. No, I'm an undercover scammer. Just haven't figured it out yet.
It's one of the most generic names or something.
Yeah.
But I was going to mention as well, it might be good to bring up, because what was the app you were using initially? You wanted to use for, like, building the community? I forget the name. Group something?
Grouped, yeah, that's what it was.
Is it grouped?
Yeah.
So a group, like, with ED.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's an app that's like, is it still going? Because, like, I still haven't downloaded it. I just, like, haven't seen any movement on there.
I have not. I've forgotten about that, to be honest.
I think it might be cool to mention, and, like, eventually maybe it might build up enough.
Yeah. It's literally just like a Patreon. That's all it is. Like,
put some discussions.
Yeah.
Have a chit chat.
I think originally even because I was creating music so consistently, I was posting on my unmixed tracks on there. Like, I was just recording them at home and it was raw, like, just the vocals and that was it to the beat, and I was uploading them to that website once a week. So I was being consistent with that, and that was the value I was putting over there. But because I haven't been doing that, then I don't have that value to put on there, so I literally forgot about it.
Yeah, I think it just depends on what works, and, like, right now you're kind of in the phase of also testing out the different social media, seeing which one kind of is the seem to find TikTok works better for them.
Yeah.
And it's really just like I guess like depends on the topic, or like charisma kind of thing.
Well, it's
work differently for each person.
It's just whatever works for you. Like, everyone's different. Yeah. I feel like there's so many gurus and shit out there. It's like, this is how you have to do this, and that's how you have to do that. It's like you just have to do what works for you. Like, everyone does shit different. Everything works for everyone different. It's the same with music. Like, if you're the same as the last artist, you're not going to make it. You need to just be you. Do what is best for you. Like, as long as you're not fucking posting once every 3 months or some shit, then you're, like, you're actually trying. Like, be you, but try. Don't be a lazy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And I guess to wrap things up, do you want to show some of, like, the merch stuff?
Yeah, so I can show the stuff that isn't.
I'm happy to show.
Yeah. I went through stages of trialing and erroring, and I was never happy with the end result. This is what's pushed me further to go, you know what, I don't even want to release merchandise. I want to start an actual clothing brand, because it's all print on demand shit, and just wasn't happy with any of it.
Printing's just like that sometimes. It's just like, hard to find the right company.
Because they're all cheaper foreign countries that do it for, like, serious, like, they're like, like, they're getting paid $10 an hour or whatever it is to do these things, and so, like, they can only produce a certain quality. So, yeah.
So we got this one.
So that was the first one. Try to play around with the design of the T on the front, but that's the album cover on the back. And then these were two different. I can't remember if I bought these shirts or not. Maybe these were the better ones, because I think actually Breezy at the time was doing a printing job where he was printing designs on t-shirts, and he, like, I did the designs on this and he printed these, but I still wasn't, like, this one came out better.
This one, your color looks accurate. You were saying one of them was oversaturated.
Yeah. But there is still, I think I've got like 10 pieces or something at home of different
the very last year
bits of merch. Yeah, I love oversized stuff.
It's such a good style.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what's pushed me to actually want to start my own clothing line, because
kind of make what you're happy with as well.
Yeah, again, working for me, like doing it for me, and actually producing something I'm proud about as well.
And like what you mentioned earlier on, having a closer look, it does become quite apparent. There's a very different textural a finish to the colors.
Yeah.
Like the way the colors printed on. This one's a little bit more like
Faded almost.
Yeah. Whereas this one's just completely over the top and a little bit easier to crease, it looks like, as well.
Yeah.
And it feels
those ones there as well. A lot of the print on demand ones were very like, that's not as bad. A lot of them were like plastic on the back. Like you could feel it when you're wearing the shirt. You don't even have to touch it. You could just feel this big plastic square on your back, and it was so uncomfortable, bro. Like I don't want to give people I care about shit like that.
That other stuff is going to peel off really easily as well.
Yeah, well, like I'm not proud about that, so I don't want to put that out and give it to other people because they're gonna. Yeah. I feel like quality is everything. They're gonna get that and go, "This is shit. I'm not buying it."
This is the problem about this, you are.
Yeah, exactly.
This is still left where you are. Where you are as an artist.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's pretty much what you can expect. So, like, I guess the finished product should be essentially like the logo and like the album cover art.
Yeah.
Are you working on any other stuff, like apparel-wise, like hats or anything like that, or is that kind of like more just like later on?
Solely at the moment, it's just shirts and hoodies. I had hoodies of those as well. The design, like, I'm not even going to go with the album cover or anything. Like I said, it's going to be two separate things. I don't know if I said that off camera or on camera. But they're going to be two separate things. It's going to solely be a clothing line, so it's not going to be related to the music at all. It's going to be its own thing. I don't want to say what it's going to be to spoil it, but I already have all the ideas planned in my head and stuff, and I'm just going with it.
Sounds good. It's all very exciting. A lot of new things answered.
Yeah.
And lots to look forward to. Hence why he is a very, very busy man and still has taken time for us to answer all these questions. And obviously we'll be able to see this on either your podcast or my podcast.
Yeah.
Whichever way you find us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I'll let you get down to all your crazy day businesses.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just one of the many things happening today.
Yeah.